which will maybe put them out of position.
And both champs in mid benefit greatly from having blue buff. And you know, we may see some invasions to try and snag that early, but for now we are into the game. Blue corner, if you guys want to see CLG win this one, let me hear ya. And top corner, our returning champions from IPL3. If you want to see Dignitas take it all, let me hear ya. CLG wandering on up top river. Dignitas scattering just a little bit. We got a nice little point defense kind of, and pings going down around the red area, and CLG gathering up here in this top river bush.
Yeah, and already we see that both teams are expecting, wanting to take map control early. We see Jana warding their own red because they're planning the invade over on Mundo, so that it doesn't allow Mundo to come in. They will be aware of where Mundo is at any given point in time. But Tarek, on the other hand, Locust picking up that early pink ward and then 4 wards. So they will have a lot of safety in bottom lane, but the pink ward will allow them to take brush control against Jana and Vayne. And because of the advantage that Tarek has as that aggressive support, and Kog'Maw with that range advantage, coupled with the heal from Tarek, they will be able to use the bushes to their advantage and try and control that bottom lane.
Dignitas has a bunch of pings going in around the red. They have an idea. They know they haven't seen CLG down bot trying to go for the blue, so they have a sneaking suspicion they may be around the red, and you know what? They are correct.
Yeah, but you see Dignitas expecting the invade, so Kog'Maw holding up in the river, Scar was holding up mid, so they would see where CLG is coming, and just expecting that red's going to be gone. So we will see them come up. I'm pretty sure they're going to be giving Dominate his blue, just so that he can continue jungling at a fast speed, and yes, he is going to take it.
Now we do also see, I mean, both of these junglers not very mana dependent. I mean, if they so choose, they could decide to pass it off to their mids. But Mundo does benefit from a little bit extra cooldown. You have the cleavers. Once he gets it, he does have the masochism as well, so a little bit extra damage output from him when he goes in for those ganks.
And it's also the fact that they suspected or probably knew.
Actually,
we see Saint Vicious coming in. There's going to be a lot of damage with that red buff. The stun not going to hit, but we do have Scar's flash down. But we will see, because they recognized that CLG was going to counter jungle them early, they wanted to be able to get Mundo his level so he can, continue up at the same speed as Saint Vicious.
Doublelift got caught a little bit by Locust, got the stun from behind through the tri-bush, but Dignitas going to back off. They got the damage they wanted, so they're going to go ahead and play it safe just a little bit. Voyboy and Hotshot, we keep saying the top lane is going to be the lane to watch. Both teams very concerned about the top lane, and CLG, most of their kills coming from the top lane as well.
Yeah, and Hotshot taking that cloth armor, he knows that he needs to mitigate some of that damage. Jax is just so strong up front. We do have a lot of sustain on Shogath, but if you can prevent him from coming up to the creeps, be very aggressive early on, which is what Jax likes to do, then you can take that advantage. But we see Saint Vicious coming up here. Voyboy doesn't have anything to jump to currently, so Saint Vicious going to be able to get some nice damage. There's actually the exhaust, and then the rupture followed up, so we might see the first blood, but the stun underneath the tower, Voyboy just barely not able to pick up that kill. If he had the ignite, he would have had it.
He's hungry, he wants it, he's in pursuit. Saint Vicious, he's hiding in the bush. Voyboy, he knows he's there.
Yeah, Hotshot definitely wants this kill.
Hotshot was trying to get the damage. Rupture misses, jukes it. Saint Vicious trying to get away. Voyboy leaps in, but Big Fat LP is here to join. He's here to help. Voyboy, you're now in a 3v1. Can you get away from this? Going into the bush to try and juke CLG out. Saint Vicious, he's in the bush. Will Voyboy be able to get in? The stun cannot hit Jax.
Dodging the Flash Frost last second. Fantastic play by Voyboy. And that's what we've seen. That really aggressive play by Voyboy, just barely making things happen, has great mechanics. But if that had been a kill, then very quickly we would see whether or not that lane falls behind. So really effective play there. He definitely needs some nice ward coverage now that he's a little bit low. Burn some of his summoners.
And while Anivia was top, this allowed Karthus to go ahead and push to tower. So Anivia lost out on a little bit of farm on that attempt. If the kill was gotten, it wouldn't mean a whole lot, but since Voyboy was able to get away, Anivia's going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage. 10 creeps, 14 creeps of a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's definitely key. you want to have that aggression, you want to have that team support, but if you're leaving the lane, then you can definitely fall a little bit behind. Anivia still has a lot of control over Karthus, but Karthus has the range where he can, just free farm there. And we do see Saint is taking his red now, so he will have kind of a continuous stream of reds here. We do have a lot of burst damage from Double Lift, so we'll have to see. Actually, he's going to condemn Lucas there, get some nice burst, but we'll have to see whether or not Saint comes down there. I expect not, with how survivable Tarek is. It'll be very difficult for Saint to engage in that lane.
Here comes Dominate, getting the cleaver in on Hotshot. He is exhausted. We got the fire, we got the AoE, trying to finish off Hotshot as much as we can. He's getting very low. 140, 100 health, cleaver, and the leap strike finishes the job. Dominate taking just enough damage for Jax to get in. First blood going to Dignitas.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge because Cho'Gath, like we said, needs to be able to sit up next to those creeps. Voyboy getting an early advantage is always key for Dignitas, whether or not he can get off to a good start. So we'll have to see where he goes with that, what kind of item builds he's doing. Right now he has some lifesteal. We'll see whether or not he's kind of going into that same old Gunblade Jax or maybe a Hex Drinker, a little bit more tankier against all this magic damage.
I mean, I do enjoy Gunblade Jax. That's the build I use. Sometimes, if I need to, I'll actually go Hex Drinker, but we don't see that. I mean, we see a little bit of magic damage from CLG, Anivia being the bulk of it. We may not see, we're probably not going to be able to see that.
There are actually a lot of magic damage. Shyvana, she's a physical jungler, but all of her abilities are actually magic damage. Her Q is physical, but she does have a decent amount of magic damage. Couple that with Cho'Gath and with Anivia. But I don't know, we'll have to see. I definitely think that we might see some early dragon control from CLG. Shyvana and Mundo are actually both pretty strong at taking dragon, but with the Janna shields, with the damage from Vayne, we might see that coupled with the control that Anivia has.
Voyboy now doing what he can to push Hot Shot, and Dignitas keeping the lane even. And now Dominate is looking a little bit for his creep. So is St. Vicious. They're wandering, they're looking at where they should be going next.
Yeah, and Saint, we do have good ward coverage top lane, so Voyboy will be pretty safe up there. But Saint actually coming in once again. Voyboy does see him, has plenty of time to get out of there. Not really the best gap closer for Shyvana. She has great movement speed, but without the hard CC, it can be kind of difficult. So you saw they really need that exhaust up for those ganks. But actually we see Locust coming in onto Double Lift here. There's the stun, but Double Lift turning onto I'm a Cutie Pie, getting off a significant amount of damage. There's the exhaust onto Double Lift. He's actually going to cleanse it. Probably didn't need to use the cleanse, but getting a little excited, see if he could pick up that kill bottom.
And in the meantime, we got the blue going mid to Scar. He's going to be taking that back with him. He's going to have another extra bag of Skittles to go with him with those layawastes. And Big Fat wondering where he should be, just wandering around downriver, just checking it out. Voyboy still getting the harass on Hotshot top lane. He has a bit of advantage now, and he's just working as much as he can. Hotshot being pushed to tower, a little bit to harder farm, and we just do have a quick pause in a moment.
Yeah, and it should be pretty interesting to see how that lane kind of goes top. We do actually have one of the computers, should be back up shortly, but Voyboy, really aggressive with Jax, has that early advantage. It's going to be an extremely difficult lane for Hotshot. I'm kind of curious to see, when we start seeing some aggression from Dignitas. We saw Mundo coming up in that top lane, whether or not we continue to see that with Karthus, with the tankiness that Mundo and Jax have. If they have good vision of Shyvana, we might be able to see some, tower dives top. They could sit there alternating, tanking the turret, and then with Karthus, finish up that kill on Hotshot, see if they can continue to take an advantage in that top lane.
So I'm taking a look right now at Voyboy's items. We got the Vamp Scepter, and we also have the Sapphire Crystal, getting a little bit of extra mana. And I'm thinking of where he's going to be building with that. I think that might actually go into a Sheen.
For Jax?
For Jax. Possibly Trinity Force coming in from him.
Yeah, that's it should be interesting to see where that is. Sheen definitely increases his burst damage. Since Cho is kind of going to be kiting in and out of lane, Voyboy can just get up in his face, have that burst. I don't know, I'd be kind of curious to see whether or not it's more of a sustain item. It'll probably be a Sheen, though. That's probably the right call.
Because you have the proc from Sheen, you have Empower, and then you Leap Strike. That is a lot of burst for someone like Jax.
Yeah, definitely. And Jax, fairly low mana pool. He has enough to spam for a while, but if he wants to constantly spam his harass out and then still be very survivable in lane, having the nice larger mana pool definitely helps him out. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We do see Shyvana is building towards a Wriggles potentially. It might just be a Vamp Scepter to give her some lifesteal, but the Wriggles on Shyvana goes along with her role as a counter kind of jungler. It allows her to take buffs and Dragon much more effectively, and could be indicative of early pressure from CLG.
So we also see the Catalyst going on to Karthus, so that's going to be going into a Rod of Ages, I assume, more than likely. Doran's Blades are starting to show up here. We got one already here on Kog'Maw. Not many Doran's items so far this game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the big thing is the Catalyst on Karthus. Karthus wants to be that frontline tanks, kind of champion, wants to survive a little bit more, be extremely aggressive, so that Kog can be safe in the back line. And because we do have a number of short-range kind of champions for CLG, that Karthus wall, once again, is going to set up the fights very nicely for Dignitas. It'll be key for CLG to see if they can pick off anyone, particularly Kog'Maw or Karthus, in these fights. And I think, I don't know, you look at Kog'Maw, one of the best thing that we've seen this weekend is that Kog'Maw doesn't have to build those fast tanking, those fast damage items, can just go for something like a Phantom Dancer and has enough damage with his W that he can go a little bit more utility than other DPSers can and still be just as effective.
Yeah, now that I think about it, we actually, both of our AP mids, they have some pretty decent walls. So we have the Ice Wall from Anivia, we got the Wall Pain from Karthus. If you had to pick one, which one would you pick?
Well, it's kind of a difference in which how the walls are going to affect the teams. And so we do have Kog'Maw for Dignitas. If Kog'Maw gets walled off, that's it. CLG is going to win that fight unless Kog can get out of there. Does have the flash, of course. But if Kog is walled off, then that's done. But at the same time, Dignitas as a whole generally it has long enough range. We do have long range with Karthus. Kog'Maw is extremely long range. Karthus is going to want to get up in that short range, get up in CLG's face, but I don't know that the Anivia wall is going to be as disruptive as the Karthus. It's really, it depends on if you can catch someone off, and that's what Anivia's wall is so strong at, catching someone off. At Dragon, you wall off the corridors coming in. You have that kind of advantage if you can split the team. But if Dignitas is organized and prepared for the wall, then it's not going to be as effective as you would like.
It's still amazing too if you have those chases in the jungle, very close quarters. Even just the level 1 wall can do so much if you get caught in a choke point like that. But Blue going to be going over to Big Fat, going to be taking that back with him to mid. We see a bot. They're backing off a little bit. CLG is going to be backing. They're going to go ahead and buy what is Vayne going to buy? We're going to get the tier 2 boots right there, extra attack speed on her. But it looks like Dignitas is actually going right around Dragon. They're actually going to start it. They RCV'd.
But it's going to be a free Dragon for Dignitas. They know that bot lane just had to recall, so effective play by Locust and I'm a Cutie forcing the lane to recall. Karthus is extremely fast at taking Dragon. Same with Cutie. We'll see whether or not they go for aggressive Barons later in the game, because they definitely have that clear speed. So that little early advantage will definitely kind of hold them off into their strong late game. We'll see whether or not CLG can respond.
Cutie getting a little bit too aggressive, trying to get some pot shots on Doublelift, but he's paying the price now. Doublelift, he wants it. He wants that kill. Gets the flash in. One more auto attack. Well, no, we got the summoner heal. We still have one more from Locust. Can he bob it in time? Very low. Oh, and we got the kill.
But we do have a lot of damage coming up here. Here's the Karthus ultimate. Can Locust finish him off?
But
we actually have Voyboy with the teleport, able to get the double kill to finish it off for his team.
We still actually had a summoner heal on Locust. Chose not to use it. I think we could have saved Cutie there and still have gotten both those kills with the teleport in.
It would have been tough because Cutie definitely wanted to get that range away from Vayne and wasn't in range for that heal. Tarek, couldn't catch up to him, so Cutie recognizing he was done, turning back into him. But Voyboy off to a huge start. And that's when we've seen Dignitas having the most success, when Voyboy gets off to a big start. 3-0 so far on Jax as that really strong carry. It'll be interesting to see how CLG deals with that. But we actually see mid, Big Fat actually almost picking off Scar with the Flash Frost, did have him walled off. The Flash Frost would have sealed the deal. And then actually Jax turning on to St. Vicious, he will be able to get out of there, and then Jax will go back up top and go for that farm.
Jax, he's got about 1,000 gold on him. He's going to be going ahead and buy himself something nice. Big Fat doing some counter jungling in the meantime. Everyone's a little bit scattered after that last team fight, but now we see Hotshot going back up the top. He did have a little bit of an advantage there because Jax was gone, so he could
But we actually see the stun onto Doublelift, getting some nice harass from Cutie and Locust. You know, they're definitely kind of low down there. When Karthus' ultimate's back up, we'll see whether or not we see a Mundo gank, a little tower dive. But there's once again a stun onto Locust, and just again, really effective harass from Kog'Maw onto Vayne, has that range, and then Janna without the heal.
Dignitas is being super aggressive here bottom lane, but they have the ward coverage